What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Evan and I make videos about hot stocks, dividends, and options. So if that interests you guys, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload. Now in today's video, we're going to do another update on Chargepoint stock, which right now is Switchback Energy. And we're going to go over why they could be a good stock to add to your portfolio if you haven't already. And we're also going to go over some of the things that are going to be happening for Chargepoint in the future and why they could be a good buy long term. But before we actually jump into it, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it, and it really does help out the channel and it lets me know that you guys enjoy these videos every day. So again, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. Now, to give you guys some reference of where Chargepoint is right now, they're trading right around $43, and they're actually down 4% on the day. And again, for those of you who don't know, as of right now, it's Switchback Energy, because Chargepoint isn't actually public. They're actually doing a reverse merger with Switchback Energy, and Switchback Energy is just a blank check company, and their goal is just to raise money to bring Chargepoint public. But when we look at Switchback Energy on the 1 week chart, you can see they're up 20%. And again, they're trading right around $43. And they've had a pretty solid week this last week with a consistent upwards trend. But where you can see more exaggerated on how they're pretty up and down is on the 1 month chart. Now they're still up right around 11% on the 1 month chart, but you can see they're pretty volatile, and a lot of their movement is dependent on the news that comes out and what the mainstream media is reporting on. If there's positive news or people are anticipating some positive news that's going to come out, Switchback Energy generally reacts pretty positively, and the reverse is also true as well. We see them pull back quite easily when negative news comes out or when people are anticipating some negative news that could come out in the future. Now, before we actually get into what Chargepoint is going to be doing in the future and what could happen after this merger, I do want to give you guys some information on what the plan is as of right now with the merger and when it could possibly happen. Now, there isn't a confirmation date as of yet. We know originally the merger was supposed to happen around December 15th, and then that got delayed, and now it's been moved out to January 15th, but that's not even confirmed. That's just an estimate as of right now. And that was actually what they filed, and they said January 15th, but it wasn't actually confirmed. So realistically, the merger could happen on January 15th or any day after that. We aren't really sure as of right now. But what we do know is that ChargePoint, which is an electric vehicle charging station, which I'm sure most of you guys know, they actually operate in 14 nations, and they're soon to merge with Switchback Energy to become one company, and this deal is valued at $2.4 billion. Now, the entire reason why Switchback Energy exists is to raise money for ChargePoint and to bring them public, as I mentioned earlier, and that's the entire goal of a SPAC, which is a special purpose acquisition company, and they're just there for the sole purpose of raising money to bring a company public. Now, there does seem to be a slight problem when it comes to SPACs and whether people actually believe in these long term. Now, typically their reverse mergers go through smoothly and it's a pretty seamless transition, but oftentimes it becomes whether the company that merged with the SPAC is able to hold up their end of the deal and actually make it out as a company in the future. Now, one of these examples is the newly minted Fisker, which is an EV company that reverse merged with former Spartan Energy at the end of October. And there was a lot of hype around Fisker leading up to this. And there was news about the Fisker Ocean SUV that they wanted to produce. But then we found out that the Ocean won't be hitting the market until the fourth quarter of 2022 at the earliest. And so this becomes a common trend among these SPACs. We don't find out what's going to happen with the company until they reverse merge and until they become one company. Then we find out the true ambitions of the company. And another good example is Nikola. There was a lot of hype leading up to Nikola. And then we found out about all the fraud, and then they pretty much dropped down and lost all their gains. And so that's a risk that a lot of people take when they invest in these SPACs. But the difference between Chargepoint and these other past SPACs is that Chargepoint, they're actually all over the world and they actually have a product. It's not like they need to raise this money to get their product going. It's not like they're a GoFundMe page, because they already have charge stations and they have customers across the world. And they're in 14 nations as of right now. So that should give you some hope if you're investing in Switchback right now, or if you plan on investing in Chargepoint once they merge. But one thing to kind of watch out for too with these SPACs and these mergers is that oftentimes they have a big spike leading up to the merger, and then after the merger happens, we see the stock pull back quite a substantial amount. Because just as of right now, Switchback Energy is up 262% since mid-September. Now obviously this is a huge gain, and personally I wouldn't be surprised to see ChargePoint pull back after the merger, because it seems like that's a pretty common trend after these SPACs merge with these other companies. But again, one of the reasons why ChargePoint is going to be very successful in the future is because if you look at the overall EV market, and if you look at how many electric vehicles are on the road right now, that number is only going to grow exponentially as new laws and regulations are put into effect. Because we know as of right now, China and California both want to ban gas-powered vehicles by 2035. And so they're some of the first people to jump on that and start implementing laws and regulations in regards to gas-powered vehicles. And so if we don't have gas-powered vehicles in 2035 or beyond, the only vehicles on the road are going to be electric vehicles. And so you can imagine all this demand for electric vehicles. Well, there's also going to be a lot of demand for charge stations. And even right now, ChargePoint is leading the way in terms of charge stations. And the only true competitor really is Tesla superchargers, because they're integrated to work with Tesla vehicles so well. And they're made to charge a Tesla vehicle much quicker than a normal charger. But we know that ChargePoint is working on these technologies and they're trying to reduce their charging speed. And so they're going to be competing with these Tesla superchargers, even though they already have more charging stations implemented around the world. Now, one thing that often hinders people from investing in a company like Switchback as of right now and ChargePoint in the future is the fact that they're not yet profitable, and they won't be for at least a few years. And this could be concerning to some investors. But again, a company like ChargePoint is more long-term. If you look at the EV space and how new it is relative to how long we've had vehicles on the road, ChargePoint is pretty much just a startup at this point. Now, even though sure, they've been around over a decade and they've been putting out these charge stations all across the world, they really haven't been around long enough to become profitable. And even though they might not be profitable for a few years, long term they should become very profitable, seeing as though how the EV space is going to grow even in the next 5 to 10 years. And because they're not profitable and they won't be for a few years here, you could argue that their share price is going to remain pretty stagnant and pretty flat for the next few years. Now, I don't think this is going to be the case. I think they're still going to continue rising. But even if they do trade flat for a few years, I think it would still be a good time to buy in before they shoot up and before they start seeing these profits. Because you have to think about it like buying into a company like Apple, for example. If you bought into Apple in the early 2000s and you held until now, you would see pretty substantial gains in your portfolio. And you almost have to look at ChargePoint in a similar respect. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, so you should do your own research if you're planning on investing in a company like ChargePoint. And it could be a risky move if you compare them to somebody like Nikola. But the only difference is that we know ChargePoint is already leading the way in terms of charge stations around the world. And if you guys haven't yet bought into ChargePoint at this point, which again is Switchback Energy right now with the ticker SBE, if you guys have wanted to buy in but you haven't yet, you could just start a small position and then dollar cost average your way in and set aside a small amount of money every week or every month. And then you're getting the average cost of Switchback as it progresses. And whether they go up or down, you're going to have the average price and you won't have to buy in at the top. But on the other hand, you're also not getting in at the bottom. You're just getting the average price over an extended period of time. So if you guys do want to invest in Switchback Energy, that's what I would suggest. Starting with a small position and then averaging your way in. But again, make sure you guys do your own research and make sure this is a company you believe in long term, because it's not a short-term play. Switchback Energy and ChargePoint is a long-term play because again, you have to look at where the EV space is going to be in the next 5, 10, and 20 years. But just to give you guys some facts that might help sway your mind and maybe give you some more information if you guys plan on investing in ChargePoint in the future, their actual customer count is exceeding 4,000 businesses and groups around the world. And they also have a network of more than 115,000 charging locations. And with those 115,000 locations, they're actually the largest network of charging stations in Europe and North America. And ChargePoint also has 133,000 other public places to charge through network roaming integrations across North America and Europe. And about every 2 seconds, somebody is plugging into a ChargePoint network. And the last thing is that when a certain document was released, It stated that drivers had done more than 82 million charging sessions using ChargePoint stations. So when you look at it like this, sure, ChargePoint is relatively new in terms of auto manufacturing and how long vehicles have been on the road, but they are one of the older companies in terms of electric vehicles and things that go along with electric vehicles. And the fact that they're already leading the way and they're the largest network of charging stations in Europe and North America, I don't see any reason why they couldn't continue leading the way into the future as well. I mean, if you get ahead early, it's a lot easier to stay ahead than if a new company were founded and they tried to catch up to ChargePoint. So again, I think they have a lot of future potential, and even though they're not yet profitable, given some time, they're going to become very profitable, and I think that their share price should reflect that pretty easily in the future. Now, for those of you who made it this far into the video, I want to hear what your guys' position is in Switchback Energy. For example, what your average cost and how many shares you guys own down in the comments. Now, if you guys are not open to sharing that, that's totally fine. But I think that would help ease a lot of other people's minds if they have a relatively high share price to see that they're not really alone. So again, if you guys are comfortable sharing your average share price and how many shares you have down in the comments, I would be really curious to know what your guys' position is. Also, I recently set up a Discord server, so if you guys want to join that, I'll leave the link in the description, and I'm also going to leave a link pinned in the top comment down in the comment section. So if you guys want to join that, feel free, because it's totally free to join. Lastly, if you guys haven't signed up for Webull, make sure you guys sign up using the link in the description. When you sign up and deposit $100, you'll get 4 free stocks. And this promotion ends soon, so make sure you guys get your free stocks before it ends. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like because it really does help out the channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you back here in the next one. Bye.